Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 7. So of course, over over last weekend, that, I guess just went by, completely, we had DC Fandom Part 2 take place, which of course had a variety of panels for everyone to enjoy, whether you only watch one or two of the DC TV shows, or watch almost all of them. Now, the Flash Extended panel had a few decent reveals, such as stuff to do with storylines in the early parts of the season, and even some stuff, extending into the mid-season, and also some other information to do with villains and additions to the upcoming 7th season. But outside of the stuff we got from Fandom, we also got some stuff talked about through an interview with Eric Wallace on Discussing Film, which talked about episode counts, certain issues that could arise this season, and mainly some stuff to do with the good and evil speedsters this season. Yes, good and evil. So as per usual, we'll go over this interview and go over things when necessary, or at least when I feel necessary, so it's up to me. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your various opinions in the comment section down below in regards to what we go over. Just, give me your own 2 cents or anything like that. Just let me know your general thoughts down in the comments. I'm always intrigued to read them. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're looking forward to any of the stuff presented in this interview, why not drop a like on the video to show support? It takes 2 seconds. What has this COVID break been like for you and the cast? Have you been keeping in touch and sharing updates on Season 7? Yeah, we have. It's important during all of this to keep the doors of communication open. Check in with folks and see how they're doing, because the way things kind of abruptly got interrupted at the end of Season 6, we were cranking along. We were right in the home stretch, as it were, and it was a disappointment, I think, for everybody involved in the production to not see it through to the end. The story that we had started telling at the beginning of Season 6. So what I wanted to do during this COVID kind of period is to make sure, first of all, everyone was safe and healthy. That's the most important thing, but to also assure everyone, hey, we are going to pick up where we left off, we're going to finish strong, and then let them know about some of the changes, because changes were going to be made, obviously. But I think I've only changed the ending of the Eva McCulloch story, which I already felt very good about. We've made it even stronger. So to let them know about those changes and how we would be going into Season 7 a little differently for the first time, as opposed to in between seasons. One season ends, then you go away for a break, then you come back and start fresh. Not this time. The next graphic novel, which is number 3 in Season 7, it's like the next week. It's not like a summer break. We just keep right on going. So this is fairly interesting. He does say what I think a lot of us thought might happen, which is maybe they make some changes to how that story with Eva McCulloch would wrap up and how it would lead on to the rest of the season, because as he said, instead of it ending and you get this big break between actual seasons, it's only going to be a week, or maybe they might have a week's break or something between that episode and the next episode, but it's not going to be months and months. It's going to be 1 week or maybe 2 weeks, between the end of that storyline and picking up with what would normally be the beginning of Season 7. So it's going to be interesting to see what the changes are. I think it's just to make the story flow a bit better. We'll have to wait and see what it is. That actually leads into our next question. Do you plan on following the same episode structure that would have closed off Season 6, or is it going to play out differently? It's funny. It's basically the same, but having this enforced break has allowed me to look at the ending and make some tweaks and adjustments to change maybe 20 to 25% of those scripts to make them stronger, and to finally bring in some of the issues and concerns, whether it be social justice and all the things that are happening in our world today, to make sure those were addressed and that they weren't ignored at the end of not only Eva's story, but in the beginning of the next graphic novel stories that we'll be telling. Those are important things to me as a human being, let alone as a showrunner, and to communicate that to the cast. So obviously we've already heard about, some of the social justice and topical storylines that are going to be in Season 7. Maybe at the point Eric said this, that it wasn't sure when it was going to be placed. But yes, around 20 to 25% of the scripts have been, tweaked and changed, but they haven't been completely overhauled. Obviously, it's important to remember Ralph won't be a part of this season, so maybe they had different plans for him there, so they have to change that up. But yeah, they're following the same structure, which I think is good. I think the structure worked well last season, so I think it's smart to keep it. Outside of the fact that Season 6 was cut short due to this current situation, did you have any other ideas or plans for the season that never came to fruition? No, we're going to fit it all in, and the ones that we did fit into Season 6, you'll see at the top of Season 7, as far as finishing telling Eva's story. I had quite a detailed plan for Season 6 with this new graphic novel structure. It's the same approach I'm using in Season 7 too. Just me as a storyteller, the more plans I have, the easier it makes when a turn, change, or a unique opportunity arises, that you have the ability to pivot because there was a plan in place, and then you could make things even better. So in terms of having Crisis on Infinite Earths, would you say that it was an advantage or disadvantage to your storytelling in Season 6? I feel it was a huge advantage because it dictated a story point for Barry's emotional journey at the beginning of season 6. I had no choice. I had to deal with the lead up to Crisis, which then led me to, well, it's the first half of the season, it's about the lead up to Crisis, and the second half is about the fallout. That actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise, knowing almost a year in advance back at the end of Elseworlds, as we were putting that together and writing the episodes that would have been season 5 of The Flash. So a year in advance, knowing that we were driving towards Crisis, I actually started to think about Barry's journey way back then, and I didn't know I was going to be running the show at that point. I'm just that guy. I just love the show so much. I can't not think about it. So we have discussed that a bit, whether, you know, Crisis was like how they fit Crisis, into like the show. And I think they did it fairly well in regards to like overall. I think you can argue little bits here and there didn't work, but I think overall they worked well implementing. I think the Flash probably did the best job, especially seeing that they had a build up and a lead out. Obviously Arrow did it fairly well, but they didn't have a fallout necessarily from it. We were wondering, what can you tease about the future of Reverse Flash, how that character will play in the next season? No spoilers on that, first of all. We all love the Reverse Flash, who doesn't? He is one of the all-time great characters, and you never know where he'll appear next. I would say, look at what happened to him at the end of The Exorcism of Nash Wells. It's kind of a setup for a story. When that next story happens, I don't want to reveal because it's pretty spoilery. Speedsters do have a huge role in Season 7 of The Flash, and as we all know, there are many kinds of speedsters, including good ones and bad ones, so that's me being vague but giving you some answers, but I hope that helps. Now, obviously, there had been talk, I think it was Grant Gustin, who of course plays Barry, who revealed in an interview that there was meant to be a Thorn-related cliffhanger, and I think he later doubled down, pretty much confirming it was Reverse Flash related at the end of Season 6. Now, we're not going to get whatever that cliffhanger was meant to be. We might get some sort of version of it later in the season. I'm intrigued to see what it would have been. I'm assuming it would have been connected to the end of Exorcism of Nash Wells, where like the Reverse Flash's like spirit went up into the sky and is looking for a new host or something. But yeah, so expect some Reverse Flash stuff this season, but it could be build up for maybe something in the not necessarily the future of this of season 7, but maybe a later season as well. But the big thing there he talks about is like Speedster's having a huge role in season 7. We know Godspeed's in there, so who else is showing up? Let me know who you think it could be in the comments. We've already talked a lot about The Flash Season 7, but is there anything in particular you haven't mentioned that you want to vocalize to the fans? Well, I want to let everybody know once again that we will wrap up the Eva McCulloch story in our first episodes for Season 7. That is our priority, because it has the craziest twists in her story and the biggest events. I mean, she did put on a costume in episode 19. We have to see her in action. We have to see Eva McCulloch in action. That is still to come. And that will take up the beginning of Season 7. But once that is resolved, we will begin 2 more graphic novels just like last season. Obviously, the second graphic novel will probably be a little shorter, perhaps not a full 8 episodes as one would usually expect, simply because of COVID production. We're starting later. I'm still not exactly sure how many episodes of The Flash will actually get on the air in 2021. It's a little tricky. It's a day-by-day thing, but we'll still adopt the graphic novel format. So that means, once again, there will be 2 separate sets of big bats for each of those individual stories. It's going to be just as fun, but a little crazier, because one thing that we haven't done on The Flash, really since even seasons 1, 2, and 3, is really look into Speedster mythology, Speedster villains, things of that nature. I wouldn't be surprised, not too many spoilers here, but let's just say I wouldn't be too surprised to see perhaps a certain Speedster mystery get solved next year that was teased in season 6. People have been asking for answers. I think those people that are looking for the answers are going to get exactly what they've been asking for next season. So once again, they're going to tap into the whole Speedster mythology and Speedster villains for next season. Obviously, I think that thing he's teasing at the end there is Godspeed. This interview was done fandom part 1, just to clear the air in regards to that. So it wasn't out there yet in regards to Godspeed actually being the villain for the first half. So he was trying to keep that under wraps for at least a bit longer. But I'm excited to see what they do there, because as I said, we haven't really tapped into Speedster mythology. There hasn't been a Speedster villain since season 3, because Reverse Flash wasn't the villain for season 5. He was just a bit of it towards the end. Cicada was still the villain. So, they're going to tap into that. He's pretty much confirming maybe a Speedster villain for the back half as well. So it's not just Godspeed for the first half. The back half villain will be a Speedster villain as well. So who could it be? If you have any theories, once again, let me know. And finally, this is the last question in the interview. Do you have a rough date for when you hope to get back into filming and start season 7? Obviously, everything is very up in the air at the moment. right? It's funny. I'm literally on the phone every day, perhaps 2 or 3 times a day, either calling on a conference call, Zoom call, or emails about going back into production. How can we do it safely? Because safety must be our first concern, and it is my first concern. The hope is to start in October or November to start in the fall. That is definitely the hope. Hopefully we'll know more in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually very cautiously optimistic, and of course when we start, we'll determine how many episodes we can crank out. So let's keep our fingers crossed for the fall. Obviously, we won't premiere until sometime in 2021. We don't know when we're going to premiere yet. Now, obviously, at this stage, he didn't know the dates and stuff. There's been the date that Flash is going to start first week of October. That's their tentative start date, and they're going to film until, I think, mid-May. So yeah, he did say October and November, so technically he was half right there. But we do know that they have a tentative start date of that first week of October, and I think everyone on the cast is currently in Vancouver doing their quarantine because, yeah, we're about 2 weeks away from that date now. So yeah, we have an update on that. But yeah, guys, that's it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it interesting. If you did, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on the video, show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on what went over. Who do you think the back half villain could potentially be? Is it going to be another Speedster? Who could it be? If you have any theories, let me know. And all of the other stuff, just let me know all your thoughts down there in regards to everything else we went over. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.